Hi, I'm Mackenzie.
Hey, I'm Denise, and welcome to the podcast from Rundown to Renewed.
Happy New Year and happy birthday to Denise.
Yes,
It
thank
is her birthday.
you.
So, when we prayed over what topics to talk about for this first quarter, it was very clear to us that we were supposed to talk to you about living life abundantly right here, right now.
Yeah. Jesus promised us an abundant life. He didn't promise us a rushed or burned out or anxious one.
Mm. Yeah,
And unfortunately, many of us live in that.
yeah.
He promised us a life that's marked by peace, purpose, and restoration. Doesn't that sound great?
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to start their new year? Hey, officially, like full new year for me today, right?
That's right. Yeah.
With that.
Yeah, so in this series, we're going to just uncover what abundance really looks like through a biblical lens. We'll talk about renewal in the middle of real life,
Yeah.
right? We're
Yeah.
all experiencing real life. We're going to talk about faith when we're tired. We're going to talk about hope when we're discouraged. And we're going to talk about God's presence when we feel far from Him. So, this whole series is an invitation to just rest, to heal, to let God breathe new life into the places that feel worn down right now.
So in John 10:10, it says, "The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yeah.
I have come," this is Jesus speaking, "I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." So when Jesus is saying this, he is making a contrast statement, right? He is drawing like a very sharp line between the two kingdoms, two agendas, two outcomes, right? The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy.
Mm-hmm.
The thief represents Satan and every single influence that's aligned with him, right? So you've got like lies, sin, fear, deception, false identity, counterfeit comfort, right?
Yeah.
What really stuck out to us in this verse specifically was the word only, right? The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy.
Mm-hmm.
There's no mixed motive here,
Right.
right? The enemy strategies are always the same.
Yeah. So let's look at what he steals. He can steal your peace, your joy, your identity, your hope, your time, your relationships, your purpose. He can kill your faith, your dreams, your spiritual sensitivity, your intimacy with God, and he can destroy your future, your legacy, your calling, and the connection to truth.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we think of this as a big dramatic scene that is going to happen, but it's really something that happens slowly and quietly and deceptively. It happens through compromise. It happens through distraction, shame, or believing lies about who you are and who God is too.
Yeah, right. But when you look at what Jesus says, right, he says that I have come that they, you and me,
Mm-hmm.
may have life,
Yes.
right? He doesn't just want to come and fix you or rescue you from hell. He comes to restore what was lost.
Mm-hmm.
I love that,
Yeah.
right? This life doesn't have to just be surviving. It there's I might mispronounce this, but Zoe life in the original Greek refers to God's own quality of life, spiritual vitality, union with God, and life that begins now,
Mm.
not just our eternal life after we pass, right? So he's saying, I have come that they may have life. I may have all of these things and have it to the full.
Yeah.
Woo, yes. And this is the part that many believers, we tend to settle short of.
Yeah, because what does life to the full mean? It means abundant, overflowing, whole. It means a life marked with freedom and truth and peace and purpose and authority. A life where wounds are healed, your identity is restored, and your calling is activated. And this doesn't mean a pain free life, right? It means a redeemed life, one where pain no longer rules you.
Yes. Doesn't that sound great?
Amen. Let's go.
Okay, so let's put this simply. Okay, the enemy wants you alive, but numb.
Ooh, say it again.
Okay, that's like painful, but true. The enemy wants you alive, but numb.
Mm.
Mm, ouch. Jesus wants you alive and fully awake.
Mm.
So this verse in John 10:10, it's an invitation and it's a warning,
Yeah.
right? If something in your life is stealing, killing, and destroying, it's not from God. All right. So think through, take some stock. Okay. If anything is in those three categories, it's not from God.
Yeah.
But if something is leading you to greater freedom and truth and love and alignment with God, it bears the mark of Jesus.
Mm. Yeah. Recently I was going through some forgiveness. It's like a whole process of forgiving and
Mm-hmm.
forgiving and forgiving and forgiving forever while we're on this earth.
Yes.
And so I had some deep unforgiveness that I had to deal with. And I, there was resistance to it. And a very kind friend told me that I had this spirit of unforgiveness. And if I didn't get rid of that, I wouldn't be able to fully forgive my list of people that I needed to forgive. And so we walked through that, and I was able to get rid of the spirit of unforgiveness. But then there was still a part of me that didn't want to forgive. Like, I know what I need to do. I have forgiven before. I know the fruit of forgiveness, but there was still something. And it was the fear of rejection. And there's this whole there are so many things that are linked to unforgiveness. So I want to show you from my personal experience what living abundantly looks like through my forgiveness journey. I sat with the Lord and I had my list of people and I repented of my unforgiveness first because this has been years in the making, knowing I need to do something and not doing it. And then I forgave every single person on that list. I myself was on that list also. And then I just prayed that any physical illness that I had that came from unforgiveness or from these people that I was not forgiving, that it would be broken in the name of Jesus. That day, actually weeks ahead of I started having psoriasis on my head. And that morning I took a picture because I don't know, the Lord just prompted me to. I'm glad I have it. But I was able to peel off like big flakes off my scalp of skin. I would wake up through the night with an itchy head. It was insane. And I couldn't get rid of it. So I prayed over my body and I had some frankincense and I anointed myself with frankincense. I put it on the psoriasis spot. And at the end of my prayer, the psoriasis was gone. And not only that, but if you know me personally, you know that I am always freezing cold.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am anemic. I have all these issues, autoimmune issues, or I did. I had all these autoimmune issues. And since sitting with the Lord and praying through all of that, I don't feel like I'm just surviving through the winter now. I feel like my body is being restored. And I think this is so important because it's such a great example of living abundantly. Like, we are called to live abundantly,
Mm-hmm.
and it's our choice.
Yeah.
We can sit in our unforgiveness, in our anger, in our pride, but we're missing out on that healing that the Lord provides for us.
Amazing. And I can testify to that because, like, with her not surviving the winter, like, Mackenzie is like perpetually cold
Yes.
all of the time. And whenever she comes over and we work, we're always in front of the fireplace. Like, we have to have blankets, all the things. She's brought over like heated blankets before. Like, it's a thing.
Yep.
And that's fine. We survive it and we go on about our lives. But she came over to help me wrap Christmas presents, and I didn't turn on the fireplace. And she wasn't wearing her heated jacket, and she didn't have a heated blanket on. She brought it, but she didn't need it.
Yep.
Like, this, the things that we really wrestle with, they do affect our bodies.
Right.
And so if there are, like, so for me, I'll share. I can't remember if I've shared this on the podcast because this did happen a few months ago, but I had this fear of punishment on me, and I did not I did not know what it was. But this was back in the fall, and there were multiple times where things that don't really seem huge or scary or should cause a lot of emotion, anger, what have you, they would grip me, these situations. Like, and I was at one point, like, could not get off the couch certain weekends, like, could not, just felt so gripped and so drained. And I knew something was wrong. And Mackenzie even was like, something's going on that's so much bigger than you. What is it? And we knew it was a fear, but we weren't sure of what. And how do you deal with it if you don't know exactly what's going on? And so we actually met with somebody to do an interview, and she called it. I explained my situation to her, and she's like, "You have a fear of punishment." And so she, like, completely just, like, cast it out. She's like, this has no home here. And in the months since this has happened, like, I have not had a weekend where I've had to lay on the couch in complete exhaustion and not get
Mm-hmm.
out and not even have motivation to make a meal.
Right.
And I just thought, oh, I'm sad, or I'm upset, or, this is just really draining. This is
Mm-hmm.
just a hard season of life or whatever. No, that wasn't it. There are pieces to that were challenging for sure. But I am so much bolder in situations where I would shrink back in fear constantly. And I just feel such a confidence in myself and in the Lord and in the things that He's called me to. And my girls have come to me and said that, hey, I'm nervous about X, Y, and Z, or I'm afraid about, whatever it is that they're bringing to me. And I'll just boldly pray with them or over them. I've anointed them with oil. And these are things that I used to be really timid about. And now it's like, no, there's so much power and there's so much power in prayer. There's so much power in just being able to know what's going on with you and
Yeah.
then taking it to the Lord. And whatever that looks like, stuff needs cast out. You need deliverance. You need to forgive, whatever. But in that abundance, in order to have that abundance, sometimes things have to fall off
Mm-hmm.
and you have to face it.
Right.
And you can, like, take us at your word,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So if there's been something that you haven't been able to shake, maybe like a thought that you know is not from the Lord, or um, like a repetition
Yeah.
of laying on the couch and not being able to get up,
Yeah.
or anything, I want you to take notice of that.
Hmm.
And is it from the Lord or is it not? And we talked about like casting out that spirit, right? And this can be like a woo woo type of conversation where it's like, oh, casting out demons, but it doesn't have to be like that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I just want to, like, the personal experience that you have with the Lord is amazing.
Hmm.
And if you
Hmm.
have friends that can do it with you, that is great. If you want to reach out to Denise or I, we have our coaching calls also where we
Yep.
can do this.
Yep.
But you can do this between you and the Lord. And it's naming that thing, naming that fear of judgment, naming that unforgiveness, and then using your authority that you have and telling it, you have no place here.
That's right.
Like, go wherever the Lord tells you to go. You cannot be here.
That's right.
And the important thing is to replace that with love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, all the fruit of the Spirit. Anything that is from God, we replace it.
That's right.
And this is like a tricky part because there is, in Revelation, it says, like, when you cast out one demon, seven will return. So if you do not have the Lord as your shield, as, like, if you do not believe in him, it's dangerous to do this. But if you believe in him, you're clean, and you'll see when it comes back, you'll be able to name it and say, nope, I already got rid of you, be gone. And then believe, like, what the Lord can do when those things are gone. You're going to see the fruit of it. So, and this is something Denise and I have experienced more and more throughout this past year that we never had exposure to really before. And so if you're like, I don't know about this, like, that's okay. We were there too.
Totally.
And we want you to know how real this is, and how I believe this really is a key of living abundantly. It's that sanctification process. It's the Lord molding you, right? He is the potter, we are the clay. Sometimes he has to chip away things at us to create that vessel to be able to pour out that abundance onto other people also.
Yeah. And I will just say that, like, the deliverance piece, like with my fear of punishment, like, that was something that I was very, even as it was happening, I was kind of like, is this real? Like, is this, um, so it's okay if, even like, if it's happening to you, if you're still just like, "Ugh, I don't know about this." However, I can say that the freedom that has come from it, I'm a true believer, and I understand, like, some of that fear around stuff like that. I think, especially, like, I mean, I grew up in a church, and I was taught that, like, certain things were just, you don't do those things, like, and I don't blame anybody for that or hold anyone to that, because I think that's just, but God is, like, he's so creative, and he's not in a box, and he can work with you however he needs to set you free.
Yeah. And I think, like, when we think about deliverance, it's like the Exorcist files where, like, their head is spinning around and everyone's vomiting and screaming at you.
Yeah.
And that's not.
That's not. And that's actually probably part of what, I mean, I never watched those movies because, oh my gosh, that's a hard no for me. But, like, I think that's part of why there's, like, a weird, like, feeling around it. Like, because even the fact that I'm talking about it on the podcast is actually, like, kind of a miracle in and of itself, to be honest, because
we're, like, living abundantly this
year. We're living abundantly. But it's still like, oh no, are people gonna think I'm crazy? But like, also in the same breath, I'm in a place, like, you know what? If you do, that's okay. Like, I love you. Like, it's all good. We're good. We're good. You can.
And we're only sharing this because of what we have experienced ourselves. And it hasn't been that screaming, crazy type of stuff that you see. It's just, like, between you and the Lord, and confessing and repenting and accepting what he has for you, and then walking in obedience one step after the next.
And it's just so, I mean, I have not experienced, like, peace and, like, and calm like this. Probably ever.
Yep.
Truly. I've never walked into a new year without striving or having or feeling like I need to measure up to something and setting a billion goals. And, having this performance. And listen, I'm all for goals, and I'm all for setting, I love all that stuff, but it used to feel like, I just used to feel like I had to strive because I had to make however many people happy, because if not, I was going to be in trouble.
Right.
I don't have that fear of punishment anymore. So I'm living differently, and I'm thinking differently, and And like, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad about not setting 18,000 goals for 2026, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I feel pretty nice actually.
Yeah. Yeah,
Walking into it a lot calmer than I've probably ever walked into a new year.
for sure. So instead of setting goals, Denise and I, over the past few years, we have chosen a word of the year.
Hmm.
And this is to make it simple, you focus on this word throughout the entire year and take note of what God does
Yeah,
because it is
it's
so cool.
awesome.
Um, so, Denise, what is your word for 2026?
So I wanted to preface this by saying that our last podcast episode of 2025, we both were like, I don't think God has a word of the year for us. And then a month went by and God gave us words for so,
Yep.
so it's all in the timing. But my word for 2026 is joy.
Hmm. And that can only come from living abundantly,
Abundantly.
right?
And yeah, and my word for 2025 was surrender. And the Lord really did call me to release a lot
Yeah.
in 2025. A lot of things that I thought were going to go a certain way and then they went the opposite way
Yeah.
from
And surrender, like through the surrender, you can experience joy.
yeah,
So it just makes sense that joy is the
I
next
know.
step for
It's
you.
pretty
It's
cool.
awesome.
It's pretty cool.
For 2026, my word of the year is actually two words. I've never done this before, but it is kingdom mindset. And I'm just focusing on having an eternal perspective. And
Mhm.
it's already started in
Yeah,
December.
for sure.
And the fruit of this, I want to say, is really cool because I had a situation where someone made an offer and like a couple months ago before I did this whole forgiveness process, I would have like looked in their face and been like, "You're crazy. I'm never doing that." But when they offered it, I literally saw it as another healing opportunity.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, the scales have fallen. Like I can see things so much differently
Yeah.
now." And that is so cool. So the kingdom mindset had already begun in December as we start into January. So
Yeah.
it's it's really cool. So we want to encourage you to just ask the Lord what your focus should be on for this year. He'll provide you a word, and if you open a Google Doc and like take notes as he reveal things to you throughout the year, it's really cool to look back and be like, "Wow, I saw things so much differently now with this mindset."
Yeah.
Or when I had sorrow, there was so much joy.
Yeah.
And my one word for the year was redeemed, and it was like everything was being redeemed, and it was really powerful. So there are so many benefits to this. What would
Hmm.
you say is like the biggest benefit for you for choosing a word of the year?
I think it gives me focus,
Mm,
you know,
yeah.
or like if something's happening, it's like focus and purpose,
Yeah.
you know? So with surrender, just the Lord asking me to lay things down and really trust him. So much of surrender is trust.
Hmm.
And that's really was a huge theme for me in this past year was just really trusting that the Lord was going to make a way. And I remember actually this was crazy and fun. So my girls and I went to Disney with family for Thanksgiving, and I bought the plane tickets, and we flew the day before Thanksgiving. So the plane tickets were not cheap, and I remember being like, okay, and money is I've gotten a lot better, but money has been it's been a surrender piece for me, big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I bought the tickets and I was like, okay, I trust that the money for these is going to come because the Lord blessed us with this trip. I've prayed over this trip. We're doing this whole thing as a family. So I'm buying the tickets and we'll just see what happens. And normally I would have had a plan in place before I bought the tickets,
Yeah.
but I didn't. I
Yeah.
just made a leap of faith and said it's going to work out. And you know what? It did,
Hmm.
and it came from like the most unsuspecting source, but the Lord just like brought it in. And so to me, surrender turned into trust.
Mm,
And that trust has deepened my faith and my relationship with the Lord because like I've seen him provide, not just
right.
financially, but just in things that I desire. or in just the changing of my heart in things. And so truly having a word of the year, it helps you focus, and it shifts your purpose too on things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. What
Yep.
about for you?
I think the same because, when you set like 5 goals, most of those are broken by the first week of January.
Go to the gym every day.
Yeah, yeah. So, and when we think of a goal, we think of the big ending of like the
Right.
big
Right.
thing, but we
Yeah.
don't look at the little steps and
Yep.
celebrate the little steps.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by just focusing on one word, it's simpler, it's
Yeah.
easier to remember,
Mm-hmm.
it's easier to commit to,
Yes.
and it just has more impact because of the simplicity of it.
Yeah. For sure.
So,
Love
yep,
that.
we would love to hear from you what your word of the year is.
Mm-hmm.
And so please share it with us. We're excited to hear.
Be sure to check out the podcast notes for anything and all the things that we have going on. A few highlights would be our Weary Heart Prayer Guide. So if you are walking through a challenging season right now and need some encouragement and just that closeness with the Lord, but maybe you're not sure what to say or what to pray or where in scripture to go, that is going to be a really great resource for you.
Yes, and on February 28th, we have our online webinar happening where we're going to continue this conversation of being renewed and living an abundant life. So make sure you check that out and grab a ticket to be a part of that. And if you're feeling run down,
There's space for you at our table.